Rum conjures up the essence of the Caribbean. This is the world's oldest spirit, originating from the Caribbean since 1493, when Columbus brought sugarcane cuttings from the Canary Islands and first planted them in the West Indies. By the mid-1700s, sugarcane production was thriving, and the sweet liquor produced by the cane, rum, became the island's economic base. Rum was initially produced in the mid-17th century on Antigua's first sugarcane plantation, Betty's Hope. The first rums of Antigua were produced by individual estate owners using old pot stills to distill their home brews. With the demise of rum production in the early 1900s, realizing the need to consolidate and maintain Antigua rum, a group of businessmen formed the Antigua Distillery Limited in 1932. The company bought 9 estates and a small sugar factory in 1934 from retiring sugarcane plantation owners. One of these estates was Montpelier Muscovado Sugar Estate, located in the southeast of the island. Here, the company's 2 steam engines were used for cutting the cane prior to grinding and also to pump water into the boilers. One of the most profitable locations for these distillers to sell their rum was Nelson's Dockyard in English Harbour. It was a major British naval port and hence a major point of rum consumption in Antigua.
I'm Desmond Nicholson, and I've lived in the Dockyard for 54 years. We sailed into the harbour in 1948. We love English Harbour because it's named after Nelson, who served there in 1784-87. He was based here for a short period of time and set up a victualling mess for his officers, which was an interesting point. And they were sent round from St. John's in the sloop because the roads were so bad in those days. And purely a naval repair station. It wasn't even the headquarters of the fleet. That's where people make a mistake. It was not the headquarters of the fleet. It was the dockyard of the Caribbean.
And what of the British Navy's reputation for rum drinking?
Rum was the classic drink of the Navy, and it still has been up to about 1970, when the last tot of rum was served, 1970, July the 31st. Each sailor was given half a pint of watered down rum, 50A, half a pint. That's about equivalent to a mug of rum. Yes, this bottle of rum was found in the cellar of a bishop in New York this year, and with bottles of wine. And I reckon this one's about 100 years old because it's a 3-piece mold. That's the construction of the bottle. And I do believe that it is at least 100 years old. And on the label, it says, "Finest old Antigua rum from one of the oldest estates on the island, decanted and recorked."
Let's see how sugarcane becomes potentially a 100-year-old fine rum. The distillery now imports its molasses from other Caribbean islands for their rum production.
Propagation is the multiplication of the yeast inside molasses in order to get much more microorganisms after a few hours. Fermentation starts by adding diluted molasses inside the tank. Then comes the addition of nutrients and acid. Nutrients help to increase the acidity, help to protect the media against bacterial contamination.
Antigua Distillery has got something very interesting, which is our distillation unit based on 5 continuous columns made from copper. And copper is a metal which is well known to participate properly in the chemical reaction during distillation. And we are the unique distillery in the Caribbean to have such distillation unit.
Densimeters provide us information concerning the efficiency of separation process. After distillation, we store the rum in reception tanks.
what is so special with the English rum is the fact they have spent a lot of years in oak barrels. And in fact, the Antigua dry climate is well known to improve the aging process. We are now located in one of our cask rooms where the aging process begins. This process lasts for a minimum of 3 years for our younger rums and longer for the older rums. Here is the bottle of our award-winning 5-year rum, which is an exciting new product for us. In addition, we do have an extra old rum, which is a blend of oldest being a 1981 vintage. For the connoisseurs, we have a single year 1981 vintage in very limited quantities. This rum is the crème de la crème of our portfolio. All our rums are aged and stored in oak cask, lying on the side in order to maximize the contact between the rum and the oak. As master blender, my role is to select the best barrels to produce the finest quality rums. When this process is finished, we do the blending in order to get the finished product. First, we do endival cask selection in order to ensure the quality of the rum. I will have to smell each cask, and we will be analyzing the rum in the GC analysis at the lab. Then we add the water in order to reduce the alcohol up to 40%, and then we do the resting during a few days in order to ensure that at the end everything is okay.
The resting process takes place in oak vat as old as the company, which is 72 years old.
We do control the propagation time during fermentation by controlling the cell count. We do control the alcohol content at the end of the fermentation and also at the end of the distillation by not only doing the alcohol control but also GC analysis in order to see if the quality of the finished rum is perfectly adequate. And before bottling, we finally do other controls such as alcohol content, acidity, sugar content, color, and GC analysis.
The quality control process does not stop at the lab. On the bottling line, even though the machines do most of the work, the Antigua distillery employees still keep a close eye on the process. New bottles are properly cleaned, then set up to run the gamut of filling, capping, and finally labeling and boxing. The next time they see the light, these bottles are ready to be enjoyed by discerning rum drinkers worldwide. However, just as history repeats itself, a lot of the rum consumption in Antigua is still done in English Harbour.
There's a certain captain on the ship Royal William that saw that rum caused a lot of problem in the Navy, and so he decided that he would give money to those men who thought they could not take the drink. So the offer was given to have, say, half a tot rather than the whole, but it was never given up. Obviously they like their rum just as much as they love their English Harbour rum today.
Antigua Sailing Week is a yearly yachting event that is recognized worldwide as the premier racing event in the sailing season. Antigua Distillery Limited has been a proud sponsor of Antigua Sailing Week, and it was for one of the sailing weeks in the early 90s that English Harbour Rum was born to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the event.
People come and people go, but our struggle continues. Poverty, disease, corruption, crime. What is needed is unity among our people.
But you needn't be in the Navy to enjoy English Harbor rum. Many of the tourists that come to Antigua are being introduced to this great award-winning rum.
See him drinking wine. See the young boy for market. See him selling swine. Na buy am sailor. See down girl carry water on her back, oh brother. Them they waka waka. See old lady, she crying. She used to be for no mother.
And the international spirits community has recognized English Harbor rum as one of the best in the world. For example, the International Rum Festival and the San Francisco World Spirits Competition both allowed English Harbor rum to garner high praise, especially for the 5-year and extra old varieties.
You ought to fight for the government, but find your way to everyone. Now wait, you go see her. Now wait, you go do.
But what happened to Cavalier? Remember, they say the child is the father of the man. For years, Cavalier has been created, aged and bottled with the same care as English Harbor rum. Like English Harbor rum, Cavalier is also available in an extra old variety. Let's hear what Cavalier means to Antiguans.
Cavalier is good for everything.
Cavalier rum is the best rum ever made.
All my life here drink Cavalier. Especially like making Antigua, so I got to live on it.
Cavalier I would drink.
Cavalier, maybe not have enough of work. Cavalier that I eat in the country. Cavalier that me love for plenty. Cavalier that I feel big and ready. Cavalier just that I rough and ready. Cavalier in the community. Cavalier, me love Cavalier plenty. Cavalier, me love that. Just I feel make a history. Cavalier just in the country. Cavalier.
Cavalier is the people's drink. The Antigua Distillery also produces a Cavalier rum punch, enjoyed by tourists and locals alike. Two of the latest additions to the family are a peanut rum cream called Nut Power, as well as a delicious coconut rum called Coca Caribe, which are both award-winning products. Antigua Distillery is proud to be the producer of fine, award-winning rums.